Hi everyone, so we're back with another review. I believe this is 48th review, I think. I think I've got one more book to do and then we're on like 50, which is crazy. Um, yeah, I get really nervous because my husband's sitting beside me as I record this because I don't like being on camera anymore. So I always get super nervous. But yeah, anyway, I'm doing a book review of Storms by Vick. And I've had this book since 2017. If I'm honest, I thought that would be a 2012 book that I got, and I've only just now gotten around to reading it. He also did Nook, um, if I've pronounced that correctly. But yeah, unfortunately, this book was not for me, and I do not plan on keeping it. But we'll go more into details. So obviously, I like to read the back of the book. Jake never meant to fall for a girl that night, but plans change and soon Jake and Hannah are together inseparable. That is until Hannah gets an opportunity that will take her away, where Jake never could afford to follow. Then the storm comes, bringing with it an extraordinary discovery, something that could turn Jake's life around. But the gifts of the sea can be cursed, and the great wave that is forming may break Jake and Hannah's world and their hearts. So basically, this story is obviously about a couple who fall in love, and it's kind of like it's a very beachy kind of summer read with kind of a dark topic. I want to say because there is trigger warning. There is kind of drugs mentioned and a drug deal that goes wrong. That's mainly my reason why I didn't like it. But basically, Hannah wants to go to Hawaii to study in, I think it's marine biology or something like that. And obviously, Hannah comes from like a wealthy background, as Jake's from like a poor background. So he doesn't have the money to go to Hawaii, and he ends up finding a load of drugs with his friend. They end up selling it, and he only sells what he needs. So he is kind of being mindful to not take more than he should. And he does end up selling it, but there's a lot of trouble where he ends up getting shot in the leg due to one of the horrible men who want their drugs back. The major plot twist that I never saw coming was the fact that it was Hannah's dad's boat, because Hannah's father's boat crashed into like the into like thinner waters. And yeah, it turns out it was his boat and his stash, and he was doing a deal with someone. That's how Jake and his friend managed to find it. So yeah, so it kind of goes wrong, and then in between all of this, there's kind of like the storyline of the whales where they end up getting stuck. They ended up beaching themselves, and Hannah needed like 5 grand in order to do a rescue mission. She didn't want to ask her dad for money, and she wanted to do it herself. So Jake ends up sacrificing the money he was gonna, well, where he stole the drugs from and sold them. Um, yeah, he was gonna use that money, but then he ended up using it on the rescue, and they ended up rescuing like a little like whale and named it Little One. And then Little One makes an appearance again later on in the book where Little One gets stuck in some netting, and we think, well, in the story, they made it seem like Little One had passed away, but Goofy ended up saving it after um, Jake and Goofy went out to try and rescue the whale again for the second time. And that's when the horrible men come in and find Jake and Goofy, and basically Jake ends up in a coma. Um, yeah, so it's kind of like it's kind of got a light, sweet romance story in there. And it's kind of about, towards the end, it's about family and nothing else really matters. It doesn't matter if you're broken as long as you have each other. So yeah, I didn't really, I didn't really love it, but it's just not my cup of tea. And it took me ages to read it. It took me well over a month. So I don't think I enjoyed it originally as much. But I gave it 3 stars, and I've also done a review for Goodreads. But apart from that, I don't really have a lot else to say about it. I mean, it's broken up into 5 parts, so it kind of makes the book a bit more digestible, and it's about 375 pages. 377 pages, so I managed to finish it last night. But yeah, if you kind of want a beachy read with a very, very light romance in it and kind of a drug deal gone wrong and rescuing whales and that, I think this book will be for you. I mean, the writing style was pretty good. The chapters were not short, but not too long, so they were kind of reasonable chapters in order to get from one chapter to another. And yeah, it was just, and in each new part, like you've got like a weather update thing, because obviously Jake's a surfer, so they do like weather reports. But yeah, he wakes up from his coma and he ends up going back home and living happy with Hannah. And they end up being together and not going to Hawaii and ending up not seeing each other for God knows how long. So yeah, I think that about wrapped it up. I gave it 3 stars, and I think the next book I'm going to do is Five Survive by Holly Jackson, which is quite a popular one. Um, but yeah, nothing special about this book, unfortunately, minus the plot twist of her dad being in on the drugs in order to keep afloat all of his finances. But in the end, he does take responsibility because he ends up losing everything, but he doesn't want to lose his daughter. So there's that. So yeah, I will wrap it up then. Thank you for watching.